was awesome. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, what's up, Hilo News family? Welcome to a special edition of the Can We Talk podcast, where we talk to dope people in the community doing dope things. And today is no different. Today, we have a special edition of our podcast because we're highlighting Black Achievers. Jack Daniels recently started a Black Achievers Award, where it's curated by Hilo News, Social Exchange, and Sweet Butter Hospitality Group. And we're highlighting some of the best and brightest in South Florida and Miami-Dade County. And today we have our very special guest, Stichiz. She's one of the honorees, and we want to learn all about her story and learn why she is a Black Achiever. Hey, Stichiz, welcome to the show.
Hey, J-Bang!
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, we don't clap. We bam, 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 bam. Yes, Annie.
Oh, I love that. Look, I knew the energy was going to be so litty when you came on, because you always come with that energy. So thank you so much, Stichiz. And congratulations on being a Black Achiever Awards honoree recipient. You have done amazing work in the community, and we wanted to highlight you for the best things and the great things that you're doing.
Thank you, and I appreciate you guys, and I love what you're doing, honey. I see the background. I see everything. I see you, boys. I see you. And I must please excuse me. I'm in a rental right now, so I didn't want to miss this interview, so please excuse me. But we here, baby. We here.
Yes. And look, that just goes to show how busy you are, how many things you have going on, but your dedication to, like, causes and things like this. So I really appreciate you just taking time to speak with me. No matter where you are, you're like, hey, we're going to get this done.
Yes, ma'am. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's just jump right in. Stichiz, I want to learn more about your background. Just full disclaimer, Stichiz and I used to work at iHeartMedia together, and that's where we initially met. And so I used to be a sales rep there. And of course, Stichiz is the midday host for 103.5 The Beat, iHeartMedia station. But honestly, I don't know much about your background, Stichiz. So I would love to know where you're from and what was your upbringing like here in South Florida.
Sure, thank you. And one of the baddest sales reps that we had, yes. So we love you either way. We still love you, but you had to go and fly in things. You had to fly, and we're happy for you. But Stichiz, originally from Ottawa, Canada, and raised in South Florida, Broward to be exact, and really just a young girl, just passionate about the Lord and what he has me to do, doing my best to do the work that he's called me to do. Music has always really been a passion of mine. I just actually was telling somebody this, that it started with writing poetry, short stories, and then eventually developed into actual songs and lyrics. And then still performing and just that love for being able to evoke joy from seeing people happy just by performing or saying something on the microphone, or just using my gifts to bring somebody up was always, I was always grateful for that. Excuse me. So then transitioning into to radio, for me, it's just an extension of that. With performing, you can kind of see people and you can kind of tell. I'm the type of person, whether I'm hosting or performing, if I see you not happy, like, just don't look happy when I'm there, because I'm coming for you. Like, you the person I'm going to come for. That's just it. So just look like you having a good time. But for radio, it's just an extension of that. I just imagine the people listening, because I can't see you, but in my mind, I got a whole bunch of I call them family, whole bunch of people and families that I'm just talking to, but I see you and I act like you asking me a question. So whatever question I feel like you asking me, that's what I'm asking and answer it, acting like you asked me it. But that's how it is. And then radio, and then when I was a kid, I was always doing different voices. Excuse me. And people would look at me kind of crazy for it. But now I get paid to do it, darling. I got paid.
I love it. You do have so many different voices, and the personality and the energy that you bring to the radio, and just all of your projects for music and hosting, it just shines through, and it goes to show, like, your background and how you were raised. What was something like growing up that your family instilled in you, any values that you carry with you today?
Sure. Good question. And I can take each from my mom and my dad. My mom, from my sister, I'll say I got that music part because she was a hip hop head coming down from Canada. So I got that really from her. And for my mom, really was instilled with doing the right thing. And she would always say, nobody's perfect, but she was one of them praying mamas. You know, everybody got one of them praying people in their family. She was a prayerful woman. She would work extremely hard, but anything I see her go through, prayer was always her base and her foundation. Like, you talk about going through things, when we lost my dad, prayed through it. When she caught a stroke, left side of her brain bleeding, and they thought she would be paralyzed, prayed through it. You know, you see her today, you would have no idea. That's why people can't really tell me about what God can and cannot do, because I've seen too much for somebody to tell me anything different. So for my mom, I would really say prayer. And also, like I was leading to, she would always say, nobody's perfect, but do your best to treat people right to where you don't have to apologize. And that always really stuck with me. But Chad, you know, we don't have to say sorry. Something about Canadian folk, we just say sorry. But I have a Haitian background as well, but it's just sorry is like a thing that we say. But that was one thing that she really instilled, like treating people the same and doing your best to treat people the same, so you don't doing the right thing, so you don't always have to apologize. And for my dad, he had a really big giving heart. He would be the one in the neighborhood where even when he passed, the kids in the neighborhood would be like, oh yeah, Mr. Edward, give me candy. Oh man, he always get like when? How he had time? When? So yeah, that's what I got from both of them. Working hard and trusting in the Lord, I would say, and doing your best to do the right thing.
I love that. And it definitely shines through just from my interactions with you and just seeing what you've done in the community, which, just goes to show why you should be a Black achiever. Stichiz, actually, my introduction to you was not radio. My introduction to you was your song that was on 103.5 The Beat. And I love that song. And
it's really love.
Yeah, it's really love. And I love that song. I have it on my playlist. And that was my introduction to you. And then when I got to the beat, I was like, wait, this is her? So, which I think is amazing and shows how talented you are. So tell me about like your journey into music and then also into radio. Like, how did you get started into both of those industries?
Sure. I'll try to keep the shorter version because, I could be winded, honey. So for music, like I mentioned, it started developing into short stories and then poems and then lyrics and then songs. But I think I was about 8 years old and we were in our patio. And I would be that kid in school that would write lyrics out for DMX was like a very big inspiration for me. The way he was able to just infuse what his belief in the Lord and Christ and infuse that into his lyrics. He still had his battles, but he was never afraid. Like, you wasn't gonna tell DMX not to pray. Like, I dare.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? Then I appreciated the no fear in that. Excuse me. So I would be in school writing out people's lyrics, and then I would recite them like they was mine, like they was mine, child. They wasn't my lyrics, girl. But I would stay up recording. Like, back then, it's like you would hear the mixes and like the songs that were never out. So I would stay up super duper late recording those songs that people never heard yet. Oh, I ain't never shared that, honey. You got the tea on me.
Yes, come on, give me the deep stuff.
This was before I write my own stuff. Okay, I write my own stuff. But eventually, when I was like 9, my sister was like, "Wait a minute." She heard my flow and she heard my cadence, and she's like, "Nah, let me see what I'm gonna give you this amount of time. Let me see what you can write." Wow. I was 9 years old, so I was writing about Rugrats. I was writing about being a kid, and when I spit it to her, she was like. And at that time, she was in the industry and had her record label and working with a lot of people in the industry. So eventually, I was going out with her. I was going out with like performing with grown men and learning the industry and learning about bars and learning about cadence and learning about how to rap into pockets at that age. So I was super grateful for it, but that was my entry into it. But for me, even as a woman in music, it wasn't always easy because it was always expected for you to be this. I wasn't this enough. I wasn't that enough. I sounded not the same. So a lot of people didn't know where to place me. and they didn't know what category I would go. But for me, I'm like, dude, like, duh, gold mine, hello, you can't fit me in, so make me that. Like,
Yeah.
You can't fit me in. That's it. That's the thing. But it wasn't. So eventually I fused the sounds that I love, which was hip hop, rock vocals, because I had a very raspy voice. And like I said, nobody could really pinpoint where to place me in. And eventually, in classical music I love, and I rap in Creole and French and some patois infused in there. And eventually I was just like, you know what? Stitch Sophrenic music. I'm going to just do me. I stitched together different sounds, put it together.
And that's the description for your name.
Stitch Sophrenic music. There it goes.
That's amazing story, Stichiz. And how did you get into radio?
Radio. Woo, child. Can't nobody tell me about God. Now, and this is why when I say this story, I always have to share when something is for you, like it's for you. I don't care who. When it's for you, can't nobody take it, can't nobody grab it. They could try, but when it's yours, it's yours. So eventually, I interned. It was just one day I saw somebody. I heard somebody on the radio, and I'm like, I want to do that. And talk about prep time, the things that you go through as a child and growing up. I don't believe anything is just for anything, because even when I was in middle school and high school, leading into high school, I was involved in a lot of organizations, and there were projects that I was doing that the NAACP Youth Council of Fort Lauderdale got wind of. Excuse me, and they propped me up. Shout out to Miss Watson. And talk about elders who see something in you and cultivate it. From that point on, I had a lot of elders who would just prep me up for hosting galas. And I'm like, dang, bro, I ain't, what? Like, the day of the gala, you thinking you helping? And I'm like, no, she's going to host. No, Stitch is going to host. No.
Wow. They saw that way back then.
They saw it. And that was my training ground up until now. So just even one day I heard, and I was like, I want to do that. And then eventually I first attended St. Thomas University, and I majored in communications, and I think poli-sci was my minor. And at that time, and so I went to my short little lady. I'm gonna speed it up for you because I know it's on time. So a short little lady, she had little silver hair, Jay. She had silver hair. Miss Alvarez was her name. Itty bitty lady. And I say, Miss Alvarez, I want to intern at the radio station. And she's like, well, you got to be a senior. I said, no. I don't care. Like, I just need my foot in the door. So this lady with silver hair wrote me a letter, and she just pretty much said that I would be getting a credit for being an intern. Child, I don't know credit. Child, nobody care about no credit. Care about no credit. Just get me in the dough. And finally, they accepted my application.
A sophomore at that time?
This was a sophomore. I was a sophomore at that time.
Wow.
So I go sophomore or junior. I know I wasn't a senior because I wasn't allowed. I wasn't supposed to be. According, somebody gonna catch this word. According to the system. According to the protocol of the peoples, I wasn't supposed to.
Come on now. Come on.
So fast forward. I go into the interview, and the young man who interviewed me, this is why I say it's so important when you know you trying to do something, like, don't let people's attitude dictate where you're supposed to be or where you're trying to go, because people will mess you up with their attitude and what they have going on. Child, you don't care. You trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Focus on that. This man was so nasty and rude. I don't even know why, but it's fine. He was just I don't know. But I was like, yes, sure. Yeah, sure. No problem. Yes, sure. Yes. And yes again.
And this is at the radio station, the guy who you're interning with?
I don't even think you know this story. Let me show you how it all circles back. So then he says, hey, so-and-so is on the air. Do you want to go intern over there? And I'm like, sure. So I go. I meet the person.
What station was this at? Like, where that
you? Hold on. I'm building. I'm telling a story. Okay,
let me let that you build.
Let me hurry up. That's your cue for me to hurry up.
No. We got time. I want to hear this tea. I need the tea. Tell me what happened.
So mind you now, but also I go into the studio. At that time, well, still even now, when the red light is on, right? That means you're live. The number one thing in radio you don't want is dead air. So they tell me, so I start talking to the person who's on air, and then boop, he turns on the red light, and I'm like, and then I just start going. And from that day forth, he put me on the air with him. And I was Peaches, like, hey, ask me who that person was.
Who was that person?
Papa Keith.
Oh my God.
Better fast forward to now. Who am I on right before it?
Papa Keith. Oh my gosh. See, I knew he
more.
was like a mentor in the game, but I didn't know how that came. So this
there's
was
more.
Was that the first year? Was that, you got to give me the timeline of the radio station and what it was.
I'm giving you the line now. Let me tell you how enter is God. So now I'm interning with him, and I'm learning from every position. Of course, I'm not getting paid. Child, I was barely making gas money for school and all. Honey, it was a lot going on. But made it there. Made it happen. It worked out. I graduate. I transferred to FAU, shout out to the Owls, and I'm majoring still in communication, double major, and then minor in music and television studies. So I'm taking what I learned from the station and then applying it to our radio there. So I'm still active and hosting even before I interned, just doing shows, video mix, and things like that. Shout out to Jesse as well, and Slim and Michelle. So pero now I stay in contact, the power of networking. I stay in contact with Henry Herrera, just saying, hey, happy holidays. How you doing? How's everything? And then finally December and November comes, and he's like, hey, this is probably some months or a year or so in, or 2 years so in. So he's like, hey, this is not your field, but apply, get yourself back into the building and work your way up. I said, you know what? Boom. But it was news. I was a poli-sci major. So I'm like, this is still my vibe. So let me get into the news. I'm still in. Mind you, I still have political action chair for NAACP, still involved as the state conference president for the Houston College Division. So I'm still in that mindset. It's a win for me. So I'm in there. I do board op. They actually created a position for me, which was doing blogs. In my mind, my goal is a show. I'm gonna need to learn the board to do my own show. My goal is a show. I'm gonna need to learn how to do a blog because I'm gonna have my own blog. So let me learn now. They eventually moved me to traffic. Chat, I'm gonna have my own show. So I'm gonna need to learn traffic now anyway. So
That's true. Look at the preparation.
Prep. This is the prep. But I was Becky Barnes. Everything wasn't, I did the traffic. They said my name was too ethnic. So I had to be Becky Barnes. Okay, I'm all right, fine. I'm doing it. I'm getting my own show. Okay. I'm getting my own show. So fast forward it now.
Becky Barnes.
Becky Barnes. That was my name, baby. That was my name. If you see a traffic problem, call me. 866 chat.
Come on now with the voice.
I ain't lying to you. So now let me speed up the story. Sorry. So I get through all that and talk about work, but still God's grace and timing, of course. So I was doing the board opping, and at that time I transitioned I was still board opping, but also Y100 I was working with. So I was doing promotions with them, but I was doing it. I was doing promotions and out in the streets, and my background is still hosting, remember, since middle school and high school, and still performing. So I'm like, all right, I can't be on the air yet. Let me speak to the people. Everybody else they want to talk who was getting paid to talk. I don't mind. Let's do it. Let's go. So eventually I was getting more practice with doing that as a promotions person. And then in the midst of all that, I'm still working on what they call an air check. If you want to be on radio, an air check is typically, this is a long story. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you're good. It's good. It's a good story. You teaching the kids what you need to do to get in this industry.
True. Very true. So an air check is really what you need, nothing long, but it's really for the program directors to hear how you sound on the radio. But the key thing that I did, I listened to, at the time it was Y100. The beat wasn't on yet. So my goal was Y. So I'm like, okay, so I'm listening to Y100 like 24/7, seeing how the personalities come out, seeing how they come into the music, seeing how the music flows. So I'm up like 4:00 in the morning, coming from doing the board out, coming from, because I'm still performing and hosting. I still got to work, coming from doing all that stuff, going back to the station and working on my air check every day. I think Alex Tier was there at the time. And me and my sister came up with the idea, Y100, 100 reasons why I should be on Y100. And every day, I was sending it every day. And then eventually, one day, talk about where you're at, do your best wherever you're at. Do your best wherever you're at and whatever position you're in, but still with that focal point of where you know you're supposed to be and where you're aiming to be. So as I'm learning with everybody, I'm taking in from everybody, but taking the meat with the bone. Whatever I'm not supposed to pick up, I'm not picking up, but just learning, you know what I mean? And applying it to the best of my ability. One day, I just finished telling this story, Jay, to Tony. Really? One day, I walk by and I see this gentleman I ain't seen before. And the Holy Spirit said, go back, go say hi. I go on back. I say, hey, how you doing? He's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I'm good. He's like, what's your name? I said, I'm Stichiz. He's like, oh, I heard about you. I'm like, what you like? What you like? So eventually, long story short, he said, let's set up a meeting. So I say, okay, but I'm chasing the person down. Let's do it. Let's set up a meeting. So girl, I come with my music. I come with my air check, honey. And like, wait, what we finna do? So we sit in the meeting. He listens to the music and he's like, why do you want to do radio? You should be doing your music. I'm like, oh, thank you. Okay, listen to the air check. Thank you so much. Go listen to the air check. He listens to the air check and he said, I need you on the radio. Ask me who this person was.
Oh my gosh. Who was it?
The senior vice president for urban radio, Doc.
Doc Rivers?
Doc Winters, Chad.
Oh, Winters. I always say Rivers. That's the basketball.
I call him I say every time I see him, I say
But that's crazy. As you're telling the story, I was like, I bet it's the guy Doc that she ran into.
It was Doc. It was Doc. So from that point on, I was on the air, and then eventually I was able to take Angie went to New York, and then she had amazing things going on. So I was able to do middays, and they offered it to me, and then like that's what I'm saying. And I found out later on the people that I was learning for, they were asked about me. So it's like nothing is for nothing, mate. Like when it's yours, because I know for a fact there were people that were probably thinking that did say, like, how in the heebie-jeebies did this person come? She ain't even got full on decades in, and how was she able to get this spot? But baby, don't nobody know what you've been doing in the background. Don't nobody know the sweat and tears that you done been through before. Exactly. Everybody don't see the cry and everybody don't see that hustle in the back, but they see the win. And when it's yours, that's why I say when it's yours, it's yours. Sometimes it may take somebody 30 years to do something, but for you, when it's yours, it may not be that long. For you, it may be. If you know what I'm saying, but you just don't know everybody's journey. So be very mindful in comparing yourself to somebody else's journey. You may not have to go through what the next person went through. And you may have your own journey to where it's like, why I had to go through that and so didn't, because it built you for the next level that you're supposed to be at. So everybody's journey is not the same. So that was a really long story, but I hope it was helpful.
No, it was really good. I want to know, what was the time period from like you interning to you getting full time at the radio?
Yep, for sure. So I interned. That's very good question. So I interned for I think the intern was a year. And then I graduated, and then it was like 2 years until I got back into the building.
Wow.
A year or two, because I had to finish school. It might have been a year or two, but again, between that time, I'm still saying, how you doing? What's going on? How's everything? So a year or two back into the building, and then from promotions to being back, having my own show, that's probably like 3 years. Wow. That's probably like a good two or 3 years. If I'm getting the math right. I'm so sorry nobody asked me that question.
That's what good journalist does.
Yeah,
See,
good job.
Thank you. But see, I want to know when you went in and you saw PK, and because I don't know if people remember, but the beat started and then it stopped and it came back. So was that when it before the break and then it coming back? Like, what was that timeline like?
Yes. So that's a good question. I interned when the beat wasn't on break. When the beat, oh no,
the first time around when Prince Marky D was still on
when
the
Prince
air.
Marky D was there.
It was a yellow and blue logo.
Rest in peace. The blue, you remember?
Oh, I was a fan of the beat, and I was one of the many people that turned their radio on that morning and was like, "Where is my station?"
We was lit. We was lit, girl. We was lit. I was an intern back then, but we was lit, girl. We was lit.
Wow. So you started, and that's crazy. That was PK that was the one who brought you on and was like, "Hey, come do this. Come on the mic with me real quick."
He just pressed play. He said, beep. And that was his way of seeing if I could. And once he saw, and I'm genuinely grateful for that. Yeah, genuinely grateful for that.
I love it. Stichiz, and PK, we always got to give him his flowers and his props. He's such an amazing, definitely a mentor and investing in my life and in my growth too. So I totally
People Manifest coming up.
Yes. Coming up March 18th. Look at you giving the plugs. This is supposed to be yours. You sharing the platform with everybody. This is supposed to be your story. But that just goes to show what your character is and how giving you are, Stichiz. Before I let you go, no, you're welcome. Before I let you go, I want to know in your words, what does it mean to be a Black achiever?
Ooh, to be a Black achiever, I think I believe it means that it's not about you. That's gonna make me cry, and I don't know why, but it's really not about you, man. It's about the people. I can't even just say the people behind you, but also remembering the people in front of you. Because for me, oh man, thank you, Lord. Because if you're still here, that means that there's still a divine purpose for you to fulfill.
Yeah.
And that means that there's still something or some things in you that people need to see, because you continuing on might be the next person breakthrough. So being that achiever is really beyond, being able to see beyond you. Like, yeah, I don't feel good today, but man, I know if I keep going, somebody else gonna get this. Somebody gonna catch. You know how you could catch these hands? Somebody could catch this blessing, boy. Somebody could really catch this blessing behind me. And this gonna speak to somebody. You might just be that person to break that generational curse, to bring forth that generational blessing, to bring forth that thing that it may not even be somebody who's attached to you, but that is watching you. Somebody that's been paying attention to your movement, somebody that's been paying attention to your faithfulness and how you just been able to keep going through it, how you just been able to keep pushing forward, somebody just watching how you move. It could be a breakthrough for them. So being a Black achiever for me is being able to see past yourself and getting to the place that you know that you're supposed to be, to open that way for somebody else, because it's deeper than just us.
Ooh, you better
that wasn't even me. That wasn't
even Pastor Stichiz. Come on, Minister Stichiz.
That wasn't even me, child.
That was deep. That was so good. People got to run. Y'all play that back. Put that on your motivational playlist, because I felt that. I received that.
Man. Oh, and can I please talk about this? This is me now. March 16th. Can we?
Yes. Plug it all.
Please. March 16th. If you do have any, and to the Black Achievers, thank you so much to all of you for your support and for even finding it not robbery to even put my name in the hat. So thank you, Janae. I appreciate you and everything that you're doing. But March 16th, we are doing the great pitch. I believe this was literally a vision that God gave me, a miniature Shark Tank. Every third Thursday of the month, we host our teen open mic. So I know Hilo News will be coming in on board
We're
for this.
definitely going to be partnering with you guys. So Hilo
It's
News
official.
family, stay tuned.
Okay, next flyer, we got your logo on there. So it's going to be official. Please send it to me, please. But what we're doing, we noticed that every third Thursday we host this teen open mic, just a safe space for students to be able to perform. Like I mentioned, as a kid, I was performing, but Chad, I was in those places. I ain't had no business in them places like that, but I was covered. So our goal is for students to be able to come to this place. We're at Handy now. Shout out to iHeart, who was one of our partners, and we were able to do it there. But now we're at Handy, and Mr. Kirk and their whole team are just amazing. But just a space where they can go and just worry about performing. Like that's your only focus, is putting on a show or practicing, where we can cultivate their gifts. And the location also has a kitchen. So every month we feature a different chef. So it's kind of like a eat and you watch thing. And we always give a cash prize to invest back into the students. So for Women's History Month, March 16th, we're doing something called the Great Pitch, to where we're finding that there's a lot of female entrepreneurs in high school, middle school, and even elementary school. So if you know a student, a young girl who is an entrepreneur or has a business idea, we're going to be having these amazing multi-million-dollar business owners or professionals rather, who are going to judge, and you'll have 1 minute to pitch your business or business idea. And the grand prize winner will receive $2,500,
Nice.
courtesy of Demesman and Dover Law Firm, The Beat, 103.5 The Beat, iHeart, and a big shout out to OIC and MLKCC, and to you, Janae, for jumping on board with this. So we're super duper excited.
I'm excited. I will definitely be in the building, and we'll, talk about what we could do as far as programming and things here on Hilo News, where we can highlight these students, because I think that's an amazing thing that you're doing, and we want to make sure that we're supporting it.
Thank you so much, sis. So feel free, go to teenopenmic.org. Shout out to Shani and JP, our whole team, Prince, who's just amazing. And to you, hi, Hilo. Is that the thing? Is that what you say? Hi.
I don't, but maybe I should.
Hi. Oh.
Stichiz, you are so.
Hi.
I'm to laugh because you always crack me up, like always. And I'm like trying to stay serious and get through the interview. But you're
that's good though.
So damn silly. I cannot take it. Oh my gosh, this has been one of my most favorite interviews. The energy, the depth of everything you're saying, the gems that you're dropping, your story, learning new things about you. I thought I knew a lot about you for having to sell you for 2.5 years, but still learning more about your story and the layers and what it takes for you to be at the level of success that you are. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and thank you for being a Black achiever and just being a great example in our community. Really, really appreciate you for taking time to speak with us today.
Thank you. Keep shining, sis. And our children's book, Timmy's Great Day, Part 2, is officially out. Stichiz.com. This is more targeted. I'm sorry. This is more targeted to. It's like she talk a lot. I do. I get paid.
No. I think people want to hear from you.
TiaBellReaders.com. But part 2 of Timmy's Great Day, You Are Beautiful. This is more targeted for our kids with disabilities, but it's really for all people. Like my prayer is that anybody who picks it up really focuses on the things that they can do and activate something to focus on what you've been called to do. So I hope you like it. It's called Timmy's Great Day. You can go find it on Amazon and all platforms. You can follow me, Stichiz, Stichiz, Stichiz. And shout out to our Connect show as well on the CW.
Oh, yeah, the Connect show.
That's it.
I was going to ask you how people can, if they want to get all this information about your upcoming event and your book. So it's all there. Go to Stichiz on Instagram and they'll get that information. Got it. I love it. This has been another great episode of the Can We Talk podcast, powered by Hilo News. We want to, again, give a special shout out to Jack Daniels for sponsoring the inaugural Black Achievers Awards. Thank you, Stichiz, for being one of the honorees and for being an amazing Black achiever and a great example in our community on what it means to be successful and to be a change maker. Again, the event is curated by myself, Hilo News, Social Exchange, and Sweet Bottle Hospitality Group. I want to say that again because I got to give Ernisha her things. The event is curated by Hilo News, Social Exchange, and Sweet Butter Hospitality Group, all powered by Jack Daniels. The Black Achievers Award is going down February 28th at the Historic Hampton House. You guys do not want to miss it, where we'll be honoring and highlighting our honorees such as Stichiz and the other cohort all amazing people doing great things. So thank you again, Jack Daniels, for sponsoring this and being a corporate partner who cares about the community.
I love you, Jay. You're an awesome Black achiever. I love you. For free.
Look,
For free.
Stichiz, we here. Can we do
it one time? Like you.
Okay, let me do it before we hang out.
Hi. Ready?
Hi.
No,
Is it
one more
hi?
time.
Is it
one more time? Ready? Hi.
Wait. That's good enough. Guys, thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time. Go to hallonewsmiami.com right now to sign up for our newsletter and get all information on how to follow us on social media. We'll see y'all next time. Hi. Peace.